Hey, yeah, greetings. So it's been a while since I posted something, and that's primarily because, well, I didn't really have a lot to say, and that's probably connected to a lot of the communities I'm involved in are kind of precious metal groups or political groups, and politics these days just seems to be kind of a really ugly business. So I thought I'd shift the focus of what the channel that I have, such as it is, and make the following statements, which I think might help clarify things. So these are the underlying assumptions that I hope to put forth on this channel. First, the Earth is finite. There's no new Earths coming along. We might be able to find one, but basically the Earth is finite. That basically science trumps religion. That religion has its purpose, but critical thinking and conclusions based from the Bible or the Quran or the Torah or the Rig Veda, etc., are not part of my decision-making process. Therefore, belief and faith, as I said, are not part of any rational, inclusive decision-making process. Now, others might disagree with it, but they're free to follow their own beliefs and whatnot, as am I. That organized religion, by its very nature, is exclusive and is thus a zero-sum game, and I don't really want any part of exclusive zero-sum game decision-making. Life is by its very nature cyclical. By understanding the past, we can help shape the future. That black swans exist, that they're coming, and that both good and black swans persist and exist, and that Nassim Taleb's book is a good read for anyone who hasn't read it so far. That therefore prognostication is a shell game, and you can hedge your bets, but specific calls for specific and certain events are often just simply folly. I don't want to hear, like Dow 10,000 or Dow 5,000 or gold 6,000 or whatever. It's just a guessing game. I mean, you're free to make them, and it's interesting to read, but you're not going to hear anything like that from me. That perhaps most importantly, endless growth, exponential or otherwise, on a finite system should be defined as insane. Let's see, that most people want free government services when it suits their purpose, but frequently they do not want free government service when it suits other people's purposes. That human systems, especially politics, are inherently flawed. We often do our best, but to expect an unchanging stick to what has worked before is simply folly. Let me clarify that. So politics essentially is a flawed game because you have a winner and a loser. And so as a result, let's say 50% of the people had voted for the loser and they're not included in the decision making. That's just simply crazy. If you just stick to what has worked before because it's worked before is I would argue not a wise decision, because systems change and you need to retain the flexibility so that you can manage that change. Therefore, conservatism may have a solid foundation, but it's lacking in the dynamic of change, so it is therefore flawed. There are numerous examples of the profound idiocy inherent in the conservative mindset, and conservative people who might view this video might wish to post some nasty comments or whatnot. You're welcome to do so. It still doesn't change the fact that an unchanging dynamic that's exclusive is inherently flawed. On the same truism, that the liberal mindset is an inclusive formula, but it lacks the solid foundation and principles that attract tried and true practices of proven human models. Thus, simply put, a tent that represents everyone really, in effect, represents nobody in particular, and is therefore also inherently flawed. Let's see. That in many cases, zero-sum game thinking is truly pablum, and I want no part of it. In some cases there are some zero-sum conclusions, but these are readily apparent and often act as points of exclusion, not inclusion, and are therefore basically not worth my time. They might be interesting to discuss, but I don't really see any lessons that can be learned from a 100% right or wrong position. Human life is basically gray. It's very rarely black and white. So I'm sure there's more, but I just wanted to spell out the basic conclusions in my position before moving forward. And for those of you that's watched, thanks for watching.